My name is Mickey Martin, and I wanted to tell you the story of everything that's happened to our family the past few months. This all started the 28th of December. My husband tested positive for COVID and was in kidney failure. He spent a few days in Elmer Hospital where his oxygen began to get lower and lower, and he was put on oxygen masks, and things got really scary. It's very hard for me to talk about this. I'm crying. He was transferred to Cooper Medical Center on the 1st of January. And on January 2nd, he was placed on a ventilator. We were told it would probably be a few days, maybe a few weeks, to get his breathing back to normal and get him off of the ventilator. As days and weeks went by, I began to realize that this was not going to be anything short term. But he was in a fatal situation. Had 7 blood transfusions, his kidneys failed. On 4 different occasions, he faced dialysis. His liver enzymes were elevated. There was strain on the right side of his heart. He was overbreathing the ventilator, and their prognosis to the doctors was not good. But from day one, I reached out to our church family, our former church families, multiple prayer groups on Facebook, and friends and family across the nation. And we just started a huge prayer tree for Frank. And I just prayed every day the Lord's will would be done, and I just trusted Him completely. I knew that this was something much greater than me. I couldn't help it. I was helpless, and I had to depend completely on God and trust His will. And every night for 20 days, I wasn't allowed to see Frank because he was considered infectious. The nurses in the ICU would FaceTime me every night so that I could pray with him and speak to him and play praise and worship music for him. And I don't know if he heard it or if it helped him, but I knew it helped me. After 22 days, I was allowed to go visit with him, and I continued to do the same thing. I began to realize that God was using me, and I started praying a different way. I started to pray that God allowed people to come into my path in the hospital, different families, staff members, nurses, doctors, and they would hear me singing to Frank, and they would come in, and I was able to witness to quite a few of them. That was a blessing to me, and it helped keep me going through this storm. And on Valentine's Day, I walked into the ICU, and Frank's eyes were open, but it wasn't him. I was told it would be 3 to 6 hours. He would wake up, that with COVID patients, maybe a little longer, maybe a few days. And it was 2 weeks, and I was starting to get scared, distraught. But I kept praying, I kept believing. And on Valentine's Day, his eyes were open, and even though I could tell he wasn't himself, he was awake. And his kidneys were still in failure. The doctors explained that it could take a while to get all the medications out of the system. The next day, on the 15th of February, he was transferred to the step-down unit for ICU. And the ICU doctors, they told me he's still not out of the woods. They had removed the intubation and put him on a trach in the step-down unit. He still didn't know who I was. And I would just come in every day and just ask him, can I sit with you? Can I pray with you? And it was one of the hardest things I've ever do in my life. On the 10th day, I got a phone call on my way to the hospital, and the nurse said that Frank asked for me, and he couldn't talk because he was on the trach, but he was mouthing words, and he said, he mouthed the words, "Where's my wife, Mickey?" And I couldn't get to the hospital fast enough. And when I got there, he knew me. And it was such a blessing, such a miracle. His progress just started to escalate very quickly from there. All the doctors were just truly amazed. I had doctors come to me crying, come to me saying they never expected him to leave that ICU. Within a week, he was off the ventilator. Within a few days, the drain was gone. He was totally off the oxygen. He didn't need any of that. In 30 days, they expected him to go to that specialty hospital. He didn't even need it anymore. He woke up 65 pounds later. He wasn't able to walk or talk or eat. He was on a feeding tube. And his progress just started happening so quickly. He spent about 30 days in the step-down unit. And then he's now in the rehabilitation center where probably an 8 to 10 week recovery turned into 3 weeks for him. And he's now standing alone and walking with and without the walker, depending on his mood of the day. And he's just truly amazed all of the doctors here. And we know this is only God. We know that he's only alive because it is a miracle. We prayed for a miracle and our prayers were heard. He's about to come home after 105 days. He's coming home to finish this recovery, and I just want to say thank you. And people who don't even know us who prayed for Frank and lifted me up too this whole time. I'm so grateful to know I have so many wonderful, faithful people in my life. Thank you.
Oh, the enemy came up against me very strong and hard, but your prayers proceeded. I thank you. I thank you all for raising me back to life. I don't remember a lot of what happened to me, but I did see some pictures of how I was swollen up so big my fingers touched each other. I still can't imagine what I went through. What I'm going through is hard to comprehend. But I do know one thing, that God stepped in and pulled me out of death. He pulled me right out of the grave. There's no doubt in my mind that had it been for your prayers, I would not be here today. Every single day, right if I wasn't weak for sleep, Nikki went to the hospital, stayed by my side. I could not have done this without her. Thank you all for your prayers, and God bless, because He certainly blessed me.